The first thing we're going to look at, and again, like Kendall said, what we're going to go over first is like a laundry list of like basic skills. But even if they seem basic, there's always ways to kind of fancy them up and improve your interactive slides. Even as I was working on this, I found new ways that I didn't think of right off the bat. So have an open mind. Always keep in mind your own curriculum. We all teach different things. Whenever we show you an example or something, make sure you're thinking about how this would work for you as a teacher, because we want this to be valuable to you. All right, here we go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is pictures. How do you add pictures to slides? There's multiple ways to do that, and they are all listed right here. We tried to make a very simple how-to list for each skill so that you can follow along and maybe even try it as we're going through it, so it kind of sticks with you. So the first way to insert a picture, this is Google Slides. So I'm sorry, this black bar is getting in my way, you guys. Okay, is to simply search within Google, within Slides. So I'm going to show you how that looks. First of all, you will always put pictures and a lot of different elements into your Google Slides by clicking on the insert menu like I just did here. If I want to add something, I go straight to the insert menu. And the first way that we're going to do it is we're going to search within Slides using Google. So you would go to image, you would hover over that, and you would click on search the web. So I'm actually going to go to my next slide right here to show you how that would work. Search the web. So depending on your content or your lesson or what you're teaching, the example that we're going to keep referring to that we built for summer school was all about Mother Jones, and she was an activist and a community leader for children's rights. So if I put in Mother Jones in the search bar right here, there she is, the most dangerous woman in America. So you can go through these pictures. If you don't get what you are looking for, you may change your search terms right here, like Mother Jones activist, or make it more or less detailed, whatever's going to give you the best results for your search. So once you find a picture that you would like, you can click on it. It will have a blue bar down here at the bottom, and you press insert. It will plop down on the slide, and you can always toggle these blue little dots on the corners of a picture to resize it. And there you have your picture. So this is through using Google search in Google Slides. It's very easy, but if you want something specific, it may not be the best way to go about it. The next way to put a picture in your slides is to upload it from your computer. So this might be like a personal picture. If you're making a meet the teacher kind of slide, you want to put a picture of you and your family, or you have student work that you want to upload and save to your desktop and then insert it. I'm going to continue on this Mother Jones theme here. I'm going to go to insert, hover over image once more, and then I'm going to upload from my computer. So the best way to think about this is you've already found the picture, you want a specific picture, and you've placed it somewhere on your computer and it's saved there. The only difficulty when it comes to uploading from your computer is that you must know where it's at. So I'm going to go here. I am going to look through, usually you can go to downloads or your desktop. And you can scroll through your pictures. Here is the one I want, mother to son, Mother Jones, boom. And there is the picture that I had already saved on my desktop. So that's two ways. And the third and final way is to insert it from your drive. So if you are a Google Drive person and you have a lot of things stored in your drive, this might be a good option for you. This is very similar to the second way, uploading it from your computer. You must have it saved already and you must know where it is. So again, I'll go back to my demonstration slide, insert image, and this time I'm going to go down to drive. All right. And over here pops up all my drive files. So if I go to my drive, and this is where it can get a little bit hard, see all my folders right here. but you can go to search, and if you know what it is called, I'm just going to put Mother Jones. See, and this is one of the problems with this. Interactive. You'd have to find it. So if you are like me and have somewhat of a cluttered drive, it could be a little bit daunting. And you can't really see it. If you hover over the folder, I think it will tell you the name of it. No. So you would find the picture here. I'm just going to put in an old picture that I found right here of binders, since I can't find my Mother Jones ones. And you can either drag it over or select it and click that blue insert button at the bottom. So again, different ways to add pictures to your slides, and they all have different uses and benefits, as you could see. All right, if you have any questions at all, if you want me to stop and say something or answer a question or show something slower, please make sure, just put that in the chat and we will be sure to take note of that. All right, so that is pictures. Now, we know that if you make slides that are more interactive or highly interactive, you're going to get more engagement from your students. And that's when Kendall and I set out this summer to make slides that would actually engage them as much as we could as a classroom setting. So another way to up the interactiveness of slides is to add videos. Again, there are multiple ways to add videos. One second, I'm going to duplicate this, my little practice board here. And this is much like the pictures. So again, you can simply search for a video within slides. Again, you would go to that Insert tab. You would click Video instead of Image. And there's 3 different options here. This is inserting from Drive. So here's my Mother Jones video that I took from StudySync. I borrowed because we still use the StudySync curriculum and when we built these, but we just combined them with the power of slides so that it was an interactive experience. So there's my video, and that was inserting it from Google Drive, number 3 right here. And then if I want to go to Insert Video, I could go to search YouTube. So I could do Mother Jones. Now this is scary and I probably wouldn't recommend this, especially if you're trying to put something together for your kids, because it's just gonna search YouTube based on your search term and come up with who knows what. And we all know that YouTube is great, but YouTube is something that we need to be especially careful with. So as you can see, I have a variety of weird Mother Jones things. What is Mother Jones? The autobiography, 2 minutes. So I'm just going to simply, I wouldn't do this as a teacher. I wouldn't just grab a video and say, oh, beautiful, because that would be kind of scary, especially putting it in front of students. But that's how you would search within. And then the second way, or the way in the middle right here, is if you've already gone to YouTube, like I have this morning, and you found a video that you like, you previewed it, you think, oh, this would be awesome for my kids, you can always just copy the URL, and then I will show you right here. You would go to Insert Video, and then not by search, not by Google Drive, but by URL. And you would copy and paste the website address there. It would look something like this. If I wanted this Mother Jones, the most dangerous woman in America, 9 minutes long, I would click on it. I would pause it after, of course, previewing it. And I would go to share, because I want to share the link with myself. I would copy this, and I would go back to my slides. I would paste this. And you can confirm that it's the right video right there. And then you can throw it into your slides. So as you can see, 3 videos, all put in there a different way. one searching YouTube within slides, one copying and pasting the web address of a video you've already found, and then one inserting it from your Google Drive. Now, if you're inserting it from your Google Drive, this third option, you must have already saved it in your Google Drive. So downloaded it and then uploaded it to your Google Drive. So if that's not something that sounds doable, you might stick with these two. They seem to be a little bit less daunting. All right. Videos are kind of a cool thing in slides. So I've added a few tips for embedding videos. If you insert from your Google Drive, so that third option that I showed you when you already have it saved in your drive, you need to make sure that the sharing settings for that specific video allows anyone with the link to view it. Because what will happen if you don't correct those sharing settings, your kids won't be able to access it, and you'll get all of these requests to access things and they won't be able to see the video. So if I go to my drive and I go to my movie here, copy of Mother Jones movie, the way that you would change those sharing settings is to right click or two finger click on this, bring up the menu, and you would go to share. And then right here, get link. Anyone on the internet with this link can view. So you would copy this down here and then all your students would have access to it. All right. I feel like I'm going fast. Let me see, there's something in the chat here. Yes, Sean, we sure can. Kendall, can you put the link to this PowerPoint or the slides that we're working in right now? Maybe a forced copy one. All right. So now that we have pictures and videos, right, what all students love, let's see how that looks. So, oh, and then my second tip, I'm sorry. This is what I think is one of the most powerful tools because you can really manipulate your slides and your tasks for your students. And it is by clicking on the format options once you get a video in there. So I'll show you what that looks like. Here are my videos that I just added. And let's say this is a study sync video. I'll just show you so you can see what we've.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 1903.
What?
It's just a little preview. If you teach the study sync curriculum, it kind of gets kids to preview the text and engage and get interested. So after I select it, no, stop playing, please. Okay, so you always know something is selected because it has these blue bars around it. The bars are good for moving, resizing, and also showing you that that's what's selected. Now, my slide over here said, click on the embedded video within your slide and then click on format options. This will allow you to choose how your video works with your slide. So I'm going to click on this. And then if you can see right here in the toolbar, this thing format, this button format options comes up. It will always do that when you have an item selected on your slide. And if you look to the right of my screen, it pops up a little column over here. So with video playback, you can actually pick which portion of the video to play. So if it's a longer video and you don't have the desire to like put it into a video editing software and stuff, you can actually just say start at 20 seconds and end at 40 seconds. And if I do that, you can see it started at 20 seconds and it will stop at 40 seconds. So that's especially good for longer videos. You can also paste the same video on a slide multiple times, but have each video go from a different increment of time, if that makes sense. So you could have like 4 videos of the same thing, but they all play a different portion of the video. If you really wanted to like scaffold the learning or stop for conversation, things like that. Also, if you scroll down, autoplay when presenting. So if you want this thing, come on now. Why is it doing this? If you want this thing to start playing right when this slide pops up when you're presenting to your students, if that's what you're doing, or if they are working on it independently and you want this to start right away, you would click this autoplay when presenting. And if I go to present, it starts playing right away. So let me escape this full thing. Okay. So those are just a few tips and tricks. Over here, you can also put like a drop shadow on it to be fancy. Who doesn't like being fancy? You can mute the audio. You can resize it this way, or you can do it. I prefer just to resize everything with these blue bars. So that's videos. That's a very basic overview. You can also, I learned this from Kindle actually, you can also make it super small. And if it's like a music video or something that you just want the audio to play in the background, you can start it on autoplay when presenting and then have something else on your slide. So earlier when I said, I know these skills may seem basic to some, but once you really get these skills down, it gives you the power to get really creative with slides and do things that will really interest students. I think I saw something in the chat. Hold on. Okay. If we are using Google Slides with a video while presenting in Zoom, will the students be able to hear the sound? They should. Can you hear my sound? Yes, we can. Okay, I have to unplug my earphones for the kids to hear the sound. Yes, that would make sense because I think it goes through the microphone. So it's like my voice, but if you have headphones in, then the microphone's not picking up your sound. And we kind of, building on that, we kind of played around with this and we found that giving kids access to the video in Zoom, so kind of like you guys will have these slides. If you are following along and teaching on Zoom, like I am trying to teach you guys, you could say, stop, all kids, go to your set of slides and play the video independently. And they can, you know, you can give them a time limit and stuff to work with it so that you're not playing it on yours. Yeah, Melissa, I wish I was an expert on these different things. We're still playing around with Zoom too. So if anybody else knows the answer to this, that would be awesome. Maybe the Zoom training could help on that. Okay, that's video. And again, these are very short. We don't have a lot of time. These are very short and basic explanations of each of these tools. All right, audio. Now this is something that I challenged myself with this summer. It's a lot like video. So you can embed different audio things. My mind was like thinking real creatively the other day, and I thought I could just voice over, you know, like I would in my classroom, hey guys, good morning, how are you? And if I put that on a slide, like a little welcome to all my students, they could all hear it. And it would be embedded in the slide and they could go back and hear it again if it was something important. So excuse my trial here, but you can record anything by using this simple tool. So I was trying to talk and read and yeah, multitasking. But this online voice recorder is a super simple tool that's free online. And you can record anything, like I said, in that audio clip, and it's so easy to embed. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now because I think it's super simple, and then I'll show you an example of how I did it with a lesson. So you're going to go to Online Voice Recorder, and you're going to click on this link. I linked it there for you. And it doesn't get more simple than this. Click on the button to start recording. You would click this. You would record something, so I'm recording myself now. I would stop it. It will process it. You can play it back. You would record something, so I'm recording. And then you would save it. So now the important thing is, as you can see on my screen, when it saves, it automatically downloads to your computer. And I say computer very slowly because you're going to have to go through one extra step and be able to find that. So if I open up this download, it shows me where on my computer it went.
You would record something.
Actually, no, it won't. I need to go to my library here. And whenever you download something, I don't know if this is common knowledge, and you click this downloads folder, it will be the first thing, and you can also look by the time. So at 8:58, I recorded this and downloaded it, and that's where it's at. So it's always important to remember where your audio recordings are so that you can successfully get them to your slides. So I'm going to go back to my slide, and I'm going to follow these. So click on the record button, click save to download your audio computer, upload your audio to your Google Drive. So this is how you're going to do it. Again, that insert tab right there. And this time we've already done image, we've already done video, and now we're going to go to audio. Okay. Now, if you look at these options for inserting audio, my drive, shared drives, shared with me, recent, there's no my computer drive. So I wouldn't be able to get to this file folder down here. This is where the extra step comes in, because you must go to your drive, and I'm just going to upload it. So if you press new, file upload, I just want to get this audio clip from my computer to my drive. So file upload, and then here's that library I want right here. So I go to my downloads again, and then I pick that most recent voice recording, and I open it. Keep separate. And it's right here at 9:06. Now it's in my drive. So I'd go back here to my slides. I'd go back to my drive. I'd go to recent, and this is the one, and I would just insert it. I know this is a lot. That's why I wrote out all of the instructions for you step by step. And when you put this little microphone or audio icon on the slide, then students can click it. So that's clickable. Again, just like videos, you can really manipulate how this audio works for you and your slides. Again, if I click on it, I select it, and I go to format options. I get that format pane over here. And do you want the audio to start playing on click? Do you want to click it? You want the kids, to have to do that, or automatically? So I would like it to play automatically, especially if I was doing something like a welcome or direct instruction, something like that. And then you have volume options. You can loop the audio. That means it'll just keep replaying, replaying, replaying. So I'll show you what that looks like. And if I present this,
You can record anything by using this simple tool. You can record anything.
so it would actually keep looping. Now that wouldn't be used for everything on your slides, but I just wanted to show you how that would work. You can also hide the icon when presenting, and that's just if you want it to look more clean. I clicked that, and you can see when I present, the icon is gone,
You can record
but it's still automatically looping.
by using this.
So that's something to play with. There's so many options and ways to use it. Right now, I'll show you one way that I use that. Again, we really want you guys to keep in mind your curriculum and what you do in your classrooms, and how creating more interactive slides with that curriculum would help your students' engagement. So we're going to show you this at the end, but I just thought I'd show it to you now. This is where I used video and audio to help kids preview a text. So you can look at this slide. We always do this in our traditional classroom. Here at Clark, we follow this first read process. And the first step of the first read is to preview the text. And this is how we do it. We read the introduction and we watch the short video, and then we kind of think about it, and students can kind of provide evidence of their thinking right here on this slide. So let me show you how this would look.
Born in 1837, Mary Harris Jones, known as Mother Jones, was an American school teacher and dressmaker who...
So this is one way I would scaffold for my students. I would kind of read the introduction to them if they so need it. They don't have to listen to it. And then they can watch the video right here.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I know this is a lot of Mother Jones, I'm sorry, you guys. And then they could actually type their response right there. So that's basically taking all the skills that we've gone over so far and making a real interactive slide using each of them. Okay, let me check on the chat here. Oh, see. Can you redo the process for audio? Yes, there's also an option under more when you are presenting in Zoom and you click optimize video playback. Okay, very good. I love all these ideas because this is not what my strong suit, Zoom. Okay, so again, for the audio, the one thing that I wanted to stress is that there is no way to automatically upload it from your computer. So when it's saved on your hard drive. So when I used that online voice recorder, I pressed save right here, and it automatically downloaded to my hard drive, my computer right here in my downloads folder. But then I had to go to my drive and click file upload and find that recording once again, and then add it to my drive. Once it's in your drive, you can go to insert audio, and you can use this search bar and my drive or recent, and you can find those audio clips right there. So again, audio is a little bit harder, but I think there's so many ways that it could be valuable to students. That's something that I'm really gonna play with this year. All right, here we go. We only have a few more things until I turn it over to Kendall.
Hold on, Sav. There was a question about inserting the SS audio to the slide, the study sync audio, I believe.
Let me go see.
It says, how did you insert the study sync audio to the slide? And then another one.
Oh, to this Mother Jones slide. Oh, the video or the audio? So the audio is just me reading the introduction. So I took the introduction, I split my screen, and I went to this online voice recorder, and I just pressed record and then did that entire process. Now for this, I had to use a screen grabber or a screen recorder, and I just went to the Study Sync platform, and as it played, I recorded my screen because there's no way to really get these Study Sync videos off of Study Sync. Again, it's our curriculum, so this is just a way to embed it in Google Slides. And I think Kendall and I will talk about the question of why wouldn't you just use Study Sync platform since we have it, but we found in summer school that there's a lot of benefits to teaching this curriculum through interactive slides rather than the Study Sync platform. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, where do I find that? Okay, so thank you. And I know this is a ton of information, so thanks for bearing with us. Right here on this slide, which we will share with you, it says online voice recorder in red, and it's linked. But if you want to just type in the URL, it's online-voice-recorder.com. I can actually just put that in the chat and then you can have it. There you go. Okay, I'm going to move on. If there are no questions, Kendall, can you keep telling me if there's a question so I see it in real time? Oh, yeah, Sandra, okay, wait, Sandra says, oh shoot. Okay, one second. when you are having students type in their response, where is that going to? Are you going through each copy of the slides the student submits? How are you checking for understanding? Sandra, that's an awesome question. And Kendall came up with a great way to do that in real time as we were Zooming with these kids in summer school. Kendall, you remember when you had all of the slides open on your screen and you were checking them in real time?
Yeah. Which I'll kind of hit on later on.
Okay.
So I'll definitely talk about that later on when we go over the model of what we did.
Cool. Just make a reminder because I think a few people would like to know that. Okay. Hi. So moving on here. How to manipulate items. Now, this is something I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I found this awesome cheat sheet. And it has key combinations that you can use to quickly manipulate your slides. So it does anything from undo, you just press Control Z. And I know this looks like a lot, like, do I really have to memorize all these? I work with slides a lot, especially this summer. And if you take the time to learn these commands, it'll be worth it, I promise, rather than getting your mouse on your trackpad, going through all these menus, because a lot of these things have quick keys or key commands. So you would, whatever you want to do, you would select your item, or if you want to paste, Control V, and these commands are all very similar to the commands used throughout the Google Suite or G Suite. Okay, so that's that. I just provided that as a resource. Again, it's kind of like you learn as you go. Links. Now, this is something that's pretty easy, but I just want to show you how you would hyperlink something so that your students could either go online to an additional resource that you want them to see or work with, and or if you want to make an interactive like table of contents. So you have, you know, a 50 slide deck, which over here we have about 39, and you'd want people or your students to be able to navigate it easy and quickly. This is where linking would come in. So first of all, if you're going to link words to websites, kind of like when I linked this up here about the audio recorder. Wait, where did that go? Right here. This is red and underlined, and that's because it's hyperlinked. So when something is linked, the format of it changes depending on your theme. And if you just click once on it, you can see where it's going to take you. And if you click twice on it, it will actually take you there in a new window. So thinking of your curriculum, your resources, your articles, anything that you'd want kids to go and access, this is a great way to do it. And how you do it is you pick the links. You pick the word or phrase in a text box that you would like to link. So if I said website, you would double click it to select it. And I think the easiest way is to use one of those double key commands. I think it's really quick. You press Control K. That brings up the link box. And then it says paste a link or search. So you can search. I'm just going to do google.com. And it usually comes up and you can apply it. Now, when they click on the word website, they will automatically be taken to google.com. So that is a word link. And you can also link items to websites. You do it the exact same way. So for example, I have a picture down here. This is not words or a phrase. And if I wanted to link it, I would still press Control K, or you can double click it or two finger click it and bring up this menu. And there is, no, see, that's not right. Press Control K, and then you can also link this to google.com. I'm just doing that for the ease of it. And when students would click this picture, they could have the opportunity to go to Google quickly. So you can link words and you can link items. which is kind of cool when you start thinking about that creative spin on these different slides. All right, the last one I'm going to go over is link within slides. Now, this is where I was talking about a table of contents. So if I wanted to go to something like my agenda, which is, for lack of better terms, a table of contents, and I wanted to link each of these things to the slide associated with them. So for example, if I just wanted to learn about pictures, I would go down here and my pictures is slide 7. So I'd go back to my agenda, I'd highlight the word pictures, Control K, and now you're going to do something different. You're not going to type in a URL here. You're going to click on slides in this presentation, and you can pick next slide, previous slide, or the actual number of the slide. So I'm going to pick slide 7, apply that, and now if I click on pictures, it will take me directly to the picture slide. So that's really useful, especially if you have a larger slide deck and you want students to be able to navigate it easily. Yeah, there's a lot of uses for that, but I'm going to keep it simple right now. All right, that is linking. Kendall, do you want to go on with slide dimensions and then I'll go back to locking background image?
Yeah, I can go ahead and take over.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty. So, where are we at? Mine will be a lot faster because I don't really have to model anything. So it will be a lot faster than Savannah's. So going over slide dimensions, the main thing about slide dimensions is when you're using slides and let's say you wanted to print them out, if you were to just press print and regularly print, it's just going to print a bunch of these slides on like one paper. So in order to eliminate that process, what you would do, and I know, forgive me, my slides are not as pretty as Savannah's, but you would click File for slide dimensions, and then you would click the page setup, which is right here, and then you would click a custom, and then you can do the regular paper size 8.5 by 11, and then you could change it to inches, and then it would change it so you can print like a full paper of each slide. And Savannah finds that helpful. I find that helpful, especially when I'm like about to teach something or writing notes on something. I want a full slide instead of just the like, I think it's like 6 slides on one paper. So that's the first thing I wanted to go over. The second thing I wanted to go over was the snipping tool. And I don't know if many of you know that you have this tool on your computer, and it is a super, super helpful tool, especially when creating slides, because you'll see when we show you what we did for our slides for summer school. We used a lot of the snipping tool for some of the questions that we took from the study sync curriculum. So it just kind of looked a lot nicer, and you could do it for a lot of things. So I'm gonna go over on how to use the snipping tool. And the snipping tool, you will be able to find it by first off clicking this little, I call it the circle, I don't really know what it's called. You click the circle and all I do is type in snipping tool. And so once snipping tool comes up, you're gonna select new. And then you can literally drag on anything you wanted to on the screen. So for instance, if I just wanted, I don't know, that like right there, it would allow me to snip whatever is on my screen. So essentially take a screenshot. And then, for example, if you wanted to maybe use this picture, this screenshot that you took and put it on your slide, you would just click the 2 papers. You have 2 options. I was doing it the long way until Savannah showed me the short way. So I was saving it on my desktop and then dragging it to the PowerPoint, but it's actually easier just to click this. It looks like 2 papers right here, and it just says copy. So once you copy, you can just go ahead and right click or 2-finger click and then paste it, and then that screenshot will come up on your slides. Savannah, was there a question? I saw the chat going, or do I need to slow down?
One
Everybody
second.
good?
My Zoom is being weird. Okay, is it the same thing as a screenshot in a Mac? Yes. for all the Mac people out there. What is it?
Yeah.
Command Shift 4.
Command Shift 4, something like that. Yeah.
I will add though that this Snip tool, I'm a Mac person, but I do like to use my school computer because this tool allows you to, like Kendall said, snip it, but you don't ever have to like junk up your desktop, because on the Macs, it automatically saves your screenshots to your desktop. And then I get like a big cluttered mess when I'm making something. This, you can actually just copy it from the Snippet program, paste it, and then close Snip, and you'll never see it again except on your slide. So it helps me keep me organized. Okay.
Yeah, and also I find I use it almost every single time I'm on my computer. And so I was kind of tired of going down here to the circle and, you know, typing in Snipping Tool. So what I did is I just pinned it to my taskbar right here once I searched it. And so now it's always just down there if I ever need it. So it's super helpful. Okay. Next thing I wanted to go over, again, very simple stuff, is once you're done completing your slide, your beautiful slideshow that you're going to show with your kids and have them work on it with you, you're going to want to assign it to your classroom. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over that really quick. I think that we should all know how to do this, but just in case, covering all bases, we wanted to make sure that you knew how to do that. So since we're going virtual, a lot of us, or most of us, will be going on Google Classroom. So first thing you want to do is open up your Google Classroom. I'm just going to click a random one. So the next thing that you would do is you would click on Classwork on the very top. And then you would click on Create. And then you could choose what you want to create, whether it's an assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, maybe reuse a post. And then this topic down here is really, really helpful, but that really doesn't apply to here. So I don't know, let's say I'm going to click an assignment, and then I'm going to title it interactive slides. And then I will add, and then this, like Savannah said, if you have a really cluttered drive, this might be a problem for you. But I will go ahead and add the slides that I did. And then you can either choose students can view, students can edit file, which you will never probably want to choose. Students can edit file. And then you will most likely always choose make a copy for each student. And then choose your due dates, all that stuff, and then assign. I'm not going to assign it because it would actually assign to some kids. But so that is pretty simple. We just wanted to make sure that you guys knew how to do that. Just in case you didn't, going into the school year, we know you're going to be having to use Google Classroom a lot more than you would if you were just to be in the regular classroom. So that is something to keep in your mind and to remember how to do. Next thing, I have two more things to go over, and then Savannah's taking it back, is sharing. Now, sharing is very important when you're working on interactive slides. For instance, Savannah and I created the slides for summer school, so we need to make sure that we're sharing them to each other. But you need to make sure that you're being very careful with sharing, because as some of you may know, if you share like a document with someone, they have, and you can choose if they can edit everything and mess up your work, kind of. So you need to be very careful with that. But we wanted to make sure that you knew how to share your slides with coworkers to help, maybe if you guys want to help create them together, or I don't know, collaborate them on in some way. It's really simple. All you would do is you would click the share button on the top right, and then you would choose who you want to share it with. So for instance, this interactive slides is shared with a couple different people, me, Savannah, and then somebody else, or some other teachers. And as you can see, they're editors. Oops, get out of there. As you can see, they're editors right here. I'm an editor, and Summer School Classroom 2 teachers are editors, and then Savannah is the owner. But let's say I wanted to not allow the Summer School Classroom teachers to edit. I can simply click right here and click Viewer. Also, if you wanted to just get the link and share it via an email, you can copy the link here. and then you can open up change right here, and then you can also, if you're going to share the link, click on what they will be able to do, either a viewer, a commenter, or an editor. But once again, if you are allowing somebody to edit, you are allowing them to fully manipulate all of your slides, every aspect of it. So that's something to be wary of. Okay, we're good. All right. So hopefully I went over that efficiently. Okay, and the last slide that I am in charge for is slide resources, but we're actually going to go over that after Savannah goes over lock background. Does that sound good, Savannah?
Yeah, and I know, just sitting here myself, that this is a lot of information. So like Kendall said in the beginning, we thought it was important in order to be successful at creating interactive slides, or somewhat successful. These are probably the most common and valuable skills that you could have. So before I go over the last one, because it's a little bit more advanced and you have to wrap your head around it. I know for me, it was quite the learning curve. I'm gonna actually show you our finished product, or one example of what we used in our summer school curriculum that we felt went well. There were issues, but for the most part, we kept tweaking it to make sure that it was giving our kids the best opportunity to learn. So I'm gonna actually show you the finished product before I show you what locked background image means or can be, because I think it'll make more sense. Hold on, let me check the chat really fast. Okay, never mind, thank you. Okay, so Kendall, is that okay if I do that?
Yeah, you're not gonna go over all of it, right? You're just gonna kind of show what.
Yeah, I'm gonna show them what a locked background looks like and then how to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And then just
okay.
Whenever you're done, I'll take over and do the last section, showing the examples of stuff.
Perfect. Okay. So now that you guys all have a link to this interactive Google Slides, this thing that we're teaching from today, it's in the chat. If you didn't see that, it'll force you to make a copy just because we don't want people editing ours. So just agree to make a copy and then it will go into your drive. If you go to, it's down here at the bottom. This slide towards the bottom, it's going to say examples of interactive slides used with StudySync curriculum. This is what we created. This is what we keep referring to. So if you click on the first one, the first read, again, this is how we do the first read process at Clark every time we read a text. Your site may be different, the way you do it may be different, but this is just an example of what something could look like. Okay, so here we go. Again, it's just the learning intention success criteria. We have this process, like I said earlier, but I'm gonna go down to the different slides, because as you can see on this, students can actually type here if you were to assign them their own copy of this presentation. So students can type here, but the beauty, the magic in locking the background is that they can't click or move anything else on this slide because it's been flattened to be the background. So when I say locked background, I mean getting all of this stuff that you don't want them to be able to touch, locked down, and then just providing areas that they can touch or manipulate or type. So I'm going to show you another way, or another example of this. This is the beginning of our text. So if you can see, if I'm a student, I'm trying to click on this text and it won't move. There's nothing they can do to move this, which is nice because we teach 8th graders and some of them aren't tech savvy or a little bit jumpy, and they'll be like deleting this text. We'll be reading a paragraph. They'll be like, I don't have that paragraph. Where did it go? So this eliminates all user error on the student's part. But what they can do over here is they can type their annotations. So again, students can type here. Did I spell that wrong? Sorry. And then they can also participate in our different annotation tools, which we have them do. So like we have a numbering the paragraphs thing down here. They can drag over these boxes and number their paragraphs. They can highlight or box unknown words. So they can actually work on top of the text without ever messing the text up, which will help them in the long run. So when I say lock background, I want you to think about everything on the page that doesn't move, okay? And then once you have that background, you can lay things on top of it that the kids or the students can move. So we've done this for the entire text, as you can see. And I'm just going to show you how to do that. Again, over here, we have our standards. We have the task right here. The kids cannot touch that. They can't take 2 to 3 sentences out and say, oh, I didn't know it was 2 to 3 sentences, you know, all of those things that students come up with. But they can start typing here. So we found this to be very, very valuable because it eliminated any drama with what we want to stay on the slide. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me go back to, let me see the chat. Kendall, is there a question in the chat?
Sorry, I'm reading them right now.
Okay, so to Darren.
No, you're good. I'll talk about it. Don't worry about Zaf.
Okay.
Darren, I'll talk about it when Savannah's done with her lock slides.
Okay, so I'm just going to do something very basic. This little cheat might blow your mind too, because it blew mine. Here we go. I always make the backgrounds or the things that I don't want to move, so the locked stuff, I always make it just in a new random slides deck. So slides.new. If you type slides.new into your, whatever you call that, URL bar, and do this, it pops open a new slides right there. Okay, so I'm going to think of this this slide right now as all the things that I don't want to move. So I might add a title like directions. You don't want students manipulating the directions, right? Write a summary based on your findings. Okay, obviously I would format this a little bit different, but I'm trying to get through this. So I would just do this, and I'm not going to do a full text, but you guys could recreate the process. So if I wanted that at the top of my slide, and then I wanted students to type down here, but I didn't want them to mess with this, here is where the magic happens. This is what I want as my locked background. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit slower because this could be new. I'm going to go to File, and the directions are in what we shared with you. So just follow along. I'm going to go to File, Download as a JPEG, so an image, okay? And current slide. You can only do one slide at a time. So I'm going to download this as a picture. Boom. If you can see down here, it's Untitled Presentation. If I open this, again, whenever you download, so there is my picture right there, okay? Now, I'm going to go to the student version of my new slides presentation. So again, I would be making something for my students, and this is where I'd want the students to work. All you're going to do is you're going to set the background of this slide as that picture that you just downloaded. So you're going to go to background right here. You're going to go to choose image, because remember, you want that background to be that locked image. And you can browse from your computer. And it is in my downloads right here, Untitled Presentation at 9:30. Yes, you can snip the slide. That is a good tip. I do this because sometimes I manipulate. Yeah, you can do either or. I chose my image. You can see it came up here. And now that you can't even touch, the kids could not touch this. It won't go anywhere. So what you do now is you lay on top of this background the opportunities for kids to work with the slide. Meaning if you want to add a text box, and you can draw it right underneath, and you could put students type here. I like to put boxes around, or my borders around my text box. Black. Boom. And now, yes, they can manipulate this. They can type right here, but they can't move that. Okay, this works well for pictures too, so they don't get all sideways on the slides. And like I said, once you have these skills, you can really let your creativity run wild. Yes, Sabrina, virtual classrooms are awesome. So that is how, when I say, I don't even know if this is the correct term, but lock the background, I mean lock the kids out from being able to manipulate the things that you don't want them to manipulate. All right, Kendall, I think that's all for that.
All righty. Let me take back over here. Okay, you went over lock background, so I'm going over this. Okay, so I have about 5 things we wanted to go over with you. But I can answer that question first, Jennifer. So how I did it was, in order to see all my students' work, we actually had, I had about 30. So it was a challenge to open about 30 slides in all of my tabs. But what was the nice thing about when we were teaching is we had small group sessions with about like 8 to 10 students. So during those small group sessions, I would say, you know, have slides whatever through whatever done by the time you get to small group. And so during that time I'd be checking on them and I'd be able to comment on them on Google Classroom. But while the best way that I found was that when I'm working in small group with them, to have every single one of their slides open on my screen on a separate tab, so I can just click through every single one and see if they're catching up or staying up with me and seeing if they need any help or if they're stuck on anything. That is just what I found helpful. There was also another comment about just snipping the background or snipping the picture and then making it a background. You can do that, but when we tried to do that, it just turned out kind of blurry because you're stretching it. So it's probably better just for this process, if you're going to adapt what we are or adopt what we are doing, to maybe just make the background with the PNG or a JPEG, whatever Savannah was talking about. So the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was, you may notice that we have like these kind of cool, I guess you would call them quote unquote cool backgrounds on all these things. It's like a theme. And so what we wanted to do is provide you with a couple of websites that we personally use for slides, because I know using that same template gets a little bit boring in Google and it could just be a little annoying. So the first one, which is my favorite, is Carnival Slides. And I use this on the daily when I'm creating slides for my classroom. And I also have my students use this because it's super easy. But pretty much it's just free templates for Google Slides. So let's say if I'm feeling, I don't know, elegant, I can click the elegant tab, and there's a bunch of different slide templates that are free. And once you, let's say I wanted to, I don't know, I'll click the coffee one. I'll click this, and then you just click preview and download, and then you could just use this as the Google Slides theme. And once you click that, it'll open up. And oops, and you just click use template right here. And it'll load. And then it allows you to open it up on Google Slides. So doing this is like super helpful. It makes it not very boring, especially since we're doing virtual learning. Any bit helps, in my opinion. And a lot of them come with like these types of like little icons that you can manipulate throughout your slides, and little emojis and stuff that you can use. So anything to keep these kids interested. And I mean, I know if I see the same slide as I always do on Google Slides, it's like kind of boring. So Carnival Slides is a great one to use. Super easy. You can click on a bunch of different ones. Some you'll find that you can't use, some you'll find that you can, but most of them, for the majority of them, you can use them. The only time that you can't is if it says you not capable with Google Slides, which is very rare. The other one that we wanted to show you was Slides Mania, the exact same thing. as Carnival Slides. I just like Carnival Slides a little bit more. But yeah, just a few more things here. You could choose the fun templates. Same exact thing, pretty much. Just click on it and then you use it as a template. So that, I think, is a really good resource. And I think if you're choosing to use interactive slides, it should be utilized a lot more than you would think. So the first thing that I wanted to show you example-wise from what we did at summer school is kind of what is exactly what Savannah did, or showed you with the locked background, but I kind of wanted to show you what we did with it. Since I know this is 7th through 12th, I know this will be applicable for 7th and 8th graders, but it could be also used for, you know, 9th through 12th, depending on what you're reading or using. I think it's really good. So like Savannah said, we always start off with the learning intentions and success criteria. And so that's just how we started off here at Clark. Previewing the text, I believe she talked about that. Again, we made this so they were able to click this and listen to it. And for those of you that were wondering if you can, if the students can hear it, all you have to do is when you're sharing, you're gonna wanna do your advanced settings and click right here on share computer sound. And then you'll be able to hear it, pretty sure. Oh, I don't have access to that.
Yeah, that's a good lesson. If Kindle was my student, I didn't click the proper share settings like I was talking about earlier on that. So then I would get an email from him saying, I can't watch the video. So again, that sharing settings is super important.
Yeah, and the sharing, like I said earlier, is it would be really annoying for somebody to forget that, because you would have like 1,000 emails from students asking like, I need to watch the video, or requesting access to watch the video. So that's always a good thing to do for sharing. But what we did is we kind of shared this preview video for the students, and then, yeah, and then they were able to kind of write their response right here. Again, everything's locked on the background. We did use the snipping tool for this section right here for the introduction. This came straight from the StudySync textbook online. So that would also be another way we use the snipping tool. But for the most part, it's a locked background like Savannah explained. Second thing is, we always make sure that we're being purposeful for when we're doing our reading and stuff. So we make sure that we have a purpose for reading, and then we also have directions. So I know Savannah kind of hit over it a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is a first read for us. And so what we always have them do is number their paragraphs and then box any unknown words. So you'll notice that these are all draggable on the sides. So some of it's locked. The stuff that we don't want them to touch is locked. Like the text itself is locked. But we want them to be able to drag these. So that's why we did not lock them for them. And then so they can, if this, for instance, if they didn't know the word countless and Pennsylvania, they would drag it, and then they'd be able to know to look it up or to ask questions about it. And the same thing with the paragraph numbers, able to drag the paragraph numbers here. And this is super useful because, for instance, if they're saying, well, I don't understand that sentence, then you could say, well, what paragraph and what sentence in that paragraph? And then you'd be able to locate it a lot faster. And then lastly, Savannah, is there any questions, or are you answering them? Or am
Oh, no, I'm answering them.
Okay, good. So lastly, on the annotation section, as we know on first reads, everybody has their own theme and ways to do it. But what we like to do is we kind of like to use summaries and questions and stuff like that. Personally, I like to require them to do something for each paragraph, which I'm going to show you as an example. But this is an editable section where they can kind of just write down whatever they want to write down in the annotations, or whatever you're having them require them to write down. So this is a really good section for them to use and for you to utilize, and it's a really good area for you to check for understanding, making sure that they're actually reading it, which is a big thing. So this is just a really nice area and a good format that we thought of was good for us, that worked for us, that we used. So the other thing is that we did not put all the paragraphs on one slide, and we thought it would be good to do, you know, 3 or 4 paragraphs on each slide. So that is another thing that we thought was good. So going through the slides, so as a like exit ticket for our first reads, we made them write a three sentence response. We know this varies with grades and levels and skills, so just use this at your own will. But we had them write a 2 to 3 sentence for central idea of the whole story that they read, and then they were able to write it again. Again, here is things that are locked, like this is locked. Oh, sorry. This is locked right here, and this is locked, but the writing section is not locked. So it's just really helpful. I mean, as Savannah and I know, teaching 8th graders, they want to fool around with stuff. They want to be funny, and this kind of just eliminates the ability to be funny and to be able to fool around and not do the work. So that's the first thing we wanted to show you. The second thing that I wanted to show you was think questions. And 7th and 8th grade teachers, you'll know what this is. 9th and 12th grade teachers, essentially this is just, you know, 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 sentence questions that we ask on the stories that we read. But the big thing that I wanted to show here is that we sometimes in our curriculum it says in paragraphs 2 to 4, what does it say about, like, what is the central idea of paragraphs 2 to 4 or something like that. So for instance, this one has that. So what we did, and this is, I believe it's 3 questions total for the students to answer and turn in. So what we did is we posted the question on one slide with the paragraphs that it was talking about, and we locked it all so they couldn't read it. Or sorry, couldn't manipulate it. And then on the next slide, it had the same question on the top, which was locked, and the border, which is locked, and then they would type their answer. So we thought this was super useful. It was really easy for them. If they couldn't remember, they didn't have to like open their book and look and flip back and use a consumable. They could literally just click the last slide and be able to read again. So that was very useful. The other thing that we ended up doing, changing it down the road, is to make it even easier. If it was only maybe 1 paragraph and it was shorter, we would put that paragraph with the question, and then they'd be able to type underneath that to make it a little bit easier for the students to see. Savannah, am I good? Do I need to answer anything or slow down or go over anything?
No, let me just talk out a few of these questions that are being asked. Somebody asked, and sorry, my chat is going up and down. So it says, can students submit individual slides so we can check their work? So it's yes and no. What you could do and what I'd recommend doing is just like duplicating or copying one of these slides into a new slide deck and only assigning 1 slide at a time if that's what you want to do. That could make that's an opportunity for you to check for understanding more quickly and less daunting. So you could reduce the number of slides assigned. And then somebody asked, do you assign the slides as a copy for each student? Yes, and that's where Kindle was showing you Google Classroom, and that you'll most likely, whenever you're sending out a slide deck to students, you'll always want to make a copy for each one so they could all do their own work. So are the annotation tools just text boxes inserted? Yes. So you just lay a text box, a blank text box. I always like to put, in parentheses, type response here so students know that that is a text box. So it kind of gets the text in there for them already. And that's just laid over a locked background. If you want quick checks, there are also tools like Playback that allow you to collect responses from all students at the same time. Yes. And that's a whole nother training. Kindle and I both really like Playback, like a lot. And we just didn't think there'd be time to go into that. So we were focusing on just creating the opportunities for students to interact with slides. And I feel like that would be a whole nother 2 hours. But thank you for providing that, Kirsten.
Aaron, it does seem cumbersome to grade all these slides like this. But honestly, it was worth it for me to put in the extra work to know that, to look at the first read that they're doing and seeing that they're actually reading it. If it takes a few more clicks for me to grade it, then that it is what it is, honestly, because it'll just show me that they actually read it, because it's easy for kids to just read it and then answer the questions, but I want them to kind of dig deep. And we thought this was a way to dig deeper than just reading it and answering the question on a form. But yes, that is a way to do it, and to use Google Forms and to use Paradex is great. But I think we answered all those, right? Sav, are we
Yeah.
good?
And if we didn't, please ask again. We're not ignoring anybody. They just kind of get lost in here.
Okay, you mentioned that this worked better than having the students. So using the study sync online is it's harder for me to check, I think, because it's like if I want them to annotate a page, right, they can do it, but then for me it was just easier to manipulate on slides and be able to check on slides. You could totally do it on Study Sync. That's up to you, Dustin. It's just, honestly, for me, I would have rather do this. And also, we were teaching 6th graders going into 7th grade, so it seemed like trying to get them through this whole program might have been a little bit more confusing. So we created this instead. But
I have something to add to that. Another benefit was, I had mentioned it briefly before, in Google Classroom, when you open up the assignment on the teacher end, you can see everybody's slides at once, or icons of everybody's slides presentation. And like Kendall was saying, you could immediately open their slides and actually see them typing or lack thereof. So we felt that it was way more, I know a lot of you have been talking about checking for understanding and giving feedback and things like that, way more user-friendly, and I think actually doable when you have that option to bounce in and out of the different slides while they're working, just like as if you'd walk around to their desks in a classroom. Whereas a Study Sync, I don't think you can even see, can you see it in real time? I don't.
I honestly don't know if you could see it in real time, but
Yeah.
I know like it doesn't give like a notification like if you were to comment it. That's the other thing. If you comment on something and let's say that you're not with the student, it'll email that student's email and it'll say, oh, so-and-so, like Savannah Wetzel commented on Kendall Kubo's interactive slides assignment, and then they can go on and look at it and fix it in real time. So those are just some reasons why we didn't use Study Sync. Overall, we just thought it would be easier for this aspect of doing a first read. Yeah. So, Diane, exactly. You can only see one at a time, which is kind of annoying. And it's like, it's not just like a one click back to another student. Sometimes it's like you have to do 3 clicks to go back and then click on some stuff. I don't know. But it was just our preference. Again, everything.
But we also didn't have our summer school rosters in Study Sync, so I don't even think they had access to it. That might have been another reason. But we actually found a lot of benefits to this, so we were glad that we were forced to get creative.
Amber, yeah. So what I did is I was Zooming with my students and sharing my screen while I was checking their responses. But what you can do is you can pause your screen sharing, which just like freezes the slide that you're on, or freezes your screen, whatever you're on, and then you can kind of do whatever you want on your computer, so you can see what they're doing while they're like, maybe, I don't know, if you have a question posted on your screen and you wanted to check. So that was really handy for me. Okay, it looks like we kind of paused on the questions. So the last thing I wanted to go over is to show you guys an example of what the first read for us looked like. This is a student example. Unfortunately, the student did not perform very well on the beginning part of it. She did not preview the text, but there should have been some typing here. And then she did not do the purpose, but that's okay. She did everything else. So this is one of my students, and for my students on a first read, I kind of, since we attack a text 3 times in my class, for the first time, I have them just summarize every single paragraph. So you'll see in these annotations, obviously there's a lot of spelling errors. This is a 6th grader going into 7th grade. So there's a lot of spelling errors, but she did summarize every single one of the paragraphs. I usually have them do 1 to 2 sentences per paragraph. you could see that apparently she knew all the words because she didn't use any of these boxes, and she did number all of her paragraphs, which made it super helpful. But she was able to summarize, I believe, with maybe 2 points, 1 to 2 points here in each section of the paragraphs. So that was super nice. On slide 6, you'll see that she didn't know 3 words here. She numbered her paragraphs, and again, it's a little scrunched up, but she did write her summaries right here. Same thing for slide 7. She didn't know a couple words, and she did her summaries. Same thing for 8, 9, 10, and oops, my screen is frozen. Oh, there we go. That was weird. So I don't know what okay, so you'll find that the kids will be able to do stuff like this. Like, this is a perfect example. I don't know what she did, but it looks like she tried to write this text and put it in this text box. So you'll see that these are the exact same things. So that's the only downside, is they can create some stuff, but it's not a big deal. And then they can also move the slides around. So she moved slide 10 underneath slide 11, which should have been backwards. But so yeah, you'll see that this is pretty much how it works. They manipulate it by moving the slides around. They can do that with the words, and then they can do their annotations. And then lastly, she did her 3-sentence response right here. Not perfect, but she did it, and she was able to turn it in. So I know it's a daunting task if you were to do a first read and do this like all day. And honestly, I did it, and I struggled, and it was boring for me. So if it were me, what I ended up doing it towards the end of summer school is I actually cut these in half. So I would say, today we're going to tackle slides 5 through 8 in the morning, and then in the afternoon we're going to do something, and then the next day we would tackle slide 9 through 12. So that's just a suggestion if you end up doing this, something like this. And remember, everybody's curriculum is different and everybody's teaching is different. Our job here was just to kind of give you some resources and ideas of how to use these things, and kind of manipulate it to make it your own. And hopefully you got something out of it. And once again, we wanted to make sure that you knew that, number one, this session was recorded, so you're going to be able to see everything that we did and everything that we went over. And number 2, we made these slides, this whole interactive slide show available to you through that link that Savannah sent, and maybe we could send it again before we leave.
Sure.
Are there any other questions or comments or anything that we can answer for you?
For all of you saying thank you guys for hanging with us. We appreciate it. This is our first time. So if there are any other questions, feel free to email Kendall or I personally, or both of us. We have a lot more that we could go over. We kind of got really into this summer, so hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. All right, well, we're right on time. How'd that work out? I don't know. All right, Kendall, are we done here?
Yeah, unless anybody has any questions.
We will be submitting roll with all of your names. Sherry, I don't know if you're still with us. Is there anything else that we need to do from a housekeeping standpoint?
You can just send me, in the email I sent you, there's specified ways to send me the recording of today's session, like the cloud recording. Okay. And yeah, just send me the attendance. Okay. And Kendall called me about that. Send me the attendance through email, and we're good to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Awesome. All right. I will talk to you later.
We're out. Bye.
Bye.